Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to revisit an article from August of 2025 that I think is potentially more relevant than ever considering the recent news regarding Battlefield 6 and what people are speculating EA's plan is for the franchise moving forward. Some of you guys might remember in August of last year, there was an article dropped by Tom Henderson claiming EA told Byron Bede that it wants Battlefield to become an annual release. Combine that with the fact that EA was sold for $55 billion to Saudi Arabia, and they went $20 billion into debt to do so. Yeah, we have a very interesting couple of years on our hands. So let's talk about the potential future of Battlefield. Smiles all around. If you enjoy the content, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also swing by the streams. All links are in the description with that. And let me know if you guys would be interested in seeing me play some Marathon. I've been debating playing this game back and forth for about a week and a half now, and I need your opinion to help push me over the edge in either direction. But now, on to the video. So, obviously, the recent news regarding Battlefield is Battlefield 6 was the biggest selling game in franchise history, best-selling game of 2025 in the United States, and EA decided to lay people off. I've made two videos relating to this subject already. The first one was obviously the initial reaction to this information, and the second video, which was yesterday's video, was essentially the argument for being positive about the potential future of Battlefield 6, and the fact that there are still good things that can happen with this game. But knowing what we know now about Battlefield 6 and the way EA really just seemed to take a very money upfront approach with this game, I remembered this article from Tom Henderson from August entitled, "Battlefield is aiming to become an annual release within 5 to 6 years, it is claimed." Now, again, just have to disclaimer all this stuff. This isn't like confirmed information, all that sort of stuff, so please take it with a grain of salt. However, this is more than likely what they're actually going to try to do. The article reads, "In a new video, industry analyst Michael Patcher claims that the general manager of the Battlefield franchise, Byron Bede, has told him that EA wants Battlefield to be an annual title." Byron Bede was one of the big shots EA brought in along with Vince Zampella to work on bringing Battlefield back to its former glory. In other words, Byron Bede is one of the people they brought on to make EA a shit ton of money, okay? Remember, Byron Bede was the mastermind of Call of Duty Warzone, but the article continues, and they say, according to Patcher, he has spoken to Bede, who has said EA's goal is to have 3 studios working on the Battlefield franchise on a 3-year cycle, so they can release annually. Unsurprising, this is identical to Call of Duty's annual release model, but Patcher claims that the franchise is still 5 to 6 years away from back-to-back annual releases. So, taking that information into account, 5 to 6 years away from back-to-back annual releases. So, if this does end up being true, we can expect the first annual release Battlefield to happen in about 2030, which means the next Battlefield, which is Battlefield 7, will potentially be the last traditionally developed Battlefield title ever. Obviously, once again, this is all speculatory, but damn, that's not a good thought. Building off of this annual release thing, let's take a look at how desperate EA is at chasing trends. RedSec is the best example of this. EA very clearly wanted their very own Warzone microtransaction money farm. So what did they do? They brought in Byron Bede to handle RedSec and all of that sort of stuff. But their absolutely fatal error with RedSec was the fact that Battle Royale at this point is just so played out, and the fact that core Battlefield players simply don't give a shit, but this sort of thing was always going to happen with RedSec. They were always going to try to put a free-to-play Battle Royale experience to try to just farm as much money as possible, even if the Battle Royale trend is 4 to 5 years out of date. EA still chased that trend, they still put that card on the table. And to a certain extent, I completely understand why. The upside is massive if it actually worked. But unfortunately, they released a pathetic Battle Royale, in my opinion, that doesn't bring a single thing new to the table that is interesting. Now comes EA being sold, and the fact that EA was sold to a company or a conglomerate or whatever you want to say that went $20 billion into debt in order to actually acquire EA. They're going to want to make that money back. And annual releases sure make a whole lot of fucking sense to make a lot of money pretty quickly, doesn't it? So this is the picture that I'm painting. EA is essentially going to treat Battlefield as an annual rug pull scheme where they attempt to make as much money as possible via marketing, having people pre-order the game, play the beta, get fooled again, right? Like Fell For It Again award. They inevitably still make a ton of money, even though it's patently obvious to anyone paying attention that this is going to happen, because the brutal reality is you just can't stop normies from handing over the credit card. So yeah, if this actually does happen, really, really bad. In terms of whether or not I think this is actually plausible, I think if Call of Duty can do it, I think DICE and Battlefield Studios and potentially even more studios being brought on can do it. I think what may happen with this is they're just going to use a certain Battlefield, whether it be BF6 or the next Battlefield game, Battlefield 7, as a base, and then we're going to see that base as a game used for the next few annual releases. Once again, extremely similar to how Call of Duty operates. In terms of how this potential approach will affect Battlefield's gameplay and overall aesthetic, I think you can actually fully expect Battlefield to move even further to that Call of Duty direction. As of right now, in Battlefield 6, it's very clear that vehicles just aren't that big of a focus for them. I don't think they've made any sort of big vehicle fixes yet. And when you look at the maps present in Battlefield 6, there are a lot of small to medium-sized maps, which, unfortunately, guys, for the diehard Battlefield fans, you just have to accept those types of maps are just more popular. And they satisfy a wider audience of people, which brings in more interest, which brings in more money. The picture that I'm painting here for Battlefield is essentially the acidification, or the further acidification, of the franchise as a whole, and basically Battlefield losing its identity forever. Could they go ahead and execute this plan better than I'm anticipating? Maybe, but again, I don't think this sort of thing would ever satisfy the true Battlefield player base, and I obviously doubt their ability to deliver a quality product if they do plan to move to an annual release cycle. Obviously, this video is basically for conversational sake. I want to hear what you guys think about this potential plan, but if I had to put my money on what they're doing behind the scenes and what the true long-term vision for the franchise is, I'm talking 5 to 10 years, this would be a pretty solid bet for their plan. But as always, I hope I am so wrong that we can look back at this video and I can laugh at myself and you guys can make fun of me. Definitely let me know what you guys think about all this stuff in the comment section. I truly wish for the best future for Battlefield possible. I would really hate to see this happen because Battlefield is one of those games where you just can't rush it. You can't rush it. There's too many details. There's too many systems to make sure that function correctly. Too much nuance. Moving to a yearly release cycle? I mean, dude. I didn't want to talk about it anymore. If you enjoy the content, be sure to hit the sub button, hit the like button, and check out the streams. I stream every single day at twitch.tv/enders. First link in the description. Also, for those of you that are interested in fragrances, colognes, perfumes, whatever, I do have a second channel. I have gotten some really cool stuff recently, and I want to talk about it, so I might be able to find some time to make some videos for the second channel coming up pretty soon here. So again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.